What is like what are we doing? Like what is happening? What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Chillporial, and I had to grift off of Prophet of the Dragon's newly achieved fame, being on the Night's Watch. So, what's up,
Hardly, yeah.
buddy?
What's up, man?
So, a certain show, a certain Wheel of Prime is no more. I can't do the Emperor that well. At last,
Well,
the
yeah,
Wheel of
it's
Prime
gone
is no
finally.
more.
Yeah, Jesus. It's like a dream, right?
Yeah,
It's done.
I
Oh my
I
God.
honestly like I was like last week, like last Friday I was having a bad day. I submitted something to the boss and there was a whole bunch of mistakes and I got called out for it. And
Oh shit.
it was just one of those days. And all of a sudden I get Wheel of Time is canceled. And all of a sudden perked up my day. It was Friday. I got the fuck out of work, and we all had a blast. And what's funny was this coincided. Me and Pips were planning a stream on that Sunday, so it ended up being a drinking stream. So I ended up buying some more whiskey. So I know you don't drink, so I'm just gonna let you know I'm having some whiskey on the rocks. So I won't be
Have
inebriated
at
like I
it,
was
man.
last time.
I'm used to it. Everybody drinks around me. It's all good, man. It's all gravy. But yeah,
Oh,
no, it was weird. Yeah, it was I woke up to it was funny because I woke up to did I tell you the text I woke up to because I was working
you did not.
overnights.
I heard you were
You want
sleeping.
to
Yes,
so
I do.
I was working overnight, so I will it's not it, so and Will Mr. Alex Whitecloak beat me to the stream, so I'm jealous, but good for them, man. They had a really awesome stream. It
Yeah,
was a lot of fun.
they had like up to 90 people.
Oh yeah, it was a
Watching.
great stream. It was awesome. But so I'm asleep and I get a text from Will about 5 p.m. Wheel of Time has been canceled after 3 seasons.
Yep.
Wake up, faggot. We're celebrating.
And we're talking about the wood. We're not talking about the
And hey man, I'm glad we're using words again. You know, it's all good. I'm glad we can say that
should have
we can
warned me.
say
You
the
should have
F
warned me
word.
before you said that.
We can say I warned
This is
it,
the
dude.
first
You can
time
bleep me.
the
You can
F
bleep me.
word. The F word's been yelped on Shilporial. So
It's only 4 minutes. Come on. Everybody knows I'm the problem, so it's okay. I haven't said the R word. I'm glad we can say the R word and the F word again and not be persecuted. All right.
and not the other or the N word. You know.
Yeah. Well, No, I'm not touching that one. Sorry.
So before we go any further, and you know what's nice, you didn't hijack the stream like a certain Pips did last time. So
What do you mean? What did I
well,
do?
no, I'm just joking. Like he's just like, oh, let's go on and do this. I'm like, dude, who is the host of Chillporial? And the last time I remember, it was Nerdporial, not Pips. That is the host of Chillporial, to quote a famous king from Lord of the Rings. So,
Hey man, it's
like,
your gig.
I love the guy, and
I'm just here, man. I'm just here. So
so
if I
let's
wasn't here, I'd be getting my butt kicked in Elden Ring Night Rain. That's what I'd be doing. So
Oh yeah. Well, I'll have to ask you about that later. Before
Yeah.
we get started, I want to say hello to people in the chat so far. So traditional was here earlier. I don't know. I think this is the first time traditional. Question mark. It's got Charlie Brown avatar. I was listening to the Linus and Lucy theme earlier. Never gets old. Yesterday, I drank some Kirkland brand tequila, and it was still better than Rafe's adaptation. I
Hey,
think
there's
Kirkland
nothing wrong
brand
with
anything from Costco is better
yeah.
than
What's wrong with
Rafe's
Kirkland brand?
adaptation. There's nothing wrong with Kirkland brand.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones season 8 is better than Rafe's adaptation. Some
Yes.
people are going to disagree. Rings of Power is better than Rafe's adaptation of Wheel of Time.
Probably. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I know a few of us disagree. I know Aldan, like I get into constant arguments with Aldan about
It
that one. So
it's very hard, and it's always something that'll come up. But we've talked about it too. But the point that they can you never get over is Wheel of Time has 14 rich books to adapt,
yes,
and they decided to do none of it. Whereas the Rings of Power, they have like nothing to adapt from, and they're still fucking it up. But it's not like 14 chapter 14, right? It's different.
and it's not like there hasn't been an adaptation already made by a certain Peter Jackson.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was, I think, that was more or less faithfully adapted, and that's what people were hoping for Wheel of Time. This was its initial adaptation. You don't decide to make it your own in an initial adaptation. I mean, like
Well,
Shakespeare's been adapted so many times, and then it took hundreds of years for them to make. I'll use an example. Kurosawa. He made a movie called Throne of Blood. Different characters, takes place in Edo, Japan. It's basically Macbeth. Same with the Lion King. Lion King was basically Hamlet. Obviously different, but they didn't call it Hamlet. They called it the Lion King. I mean, if you're
it,
going to make
yeah.
something that's based off of Wheel of Time, make it its own thing and say based off of Wheel of Time by Robert Jordan.
Yeah, it's one of those. It's not even close. Like it doesn't even bear a resemblance. If all the characters were named something else, you wouldn't know it was a Wheel of Time show. If you ask people, "Hey, who is this character remind me of?" I don't know that they get a single person. If you showed a picture of Egwene or what's her name, Madeline, whatever,
I was going to say
or the
Albright, but
I
that
don't know her
The
freaking name.
Clinton Secretary of
That's
State.
also that's also what all these people have to deal with is they all none of their names are famous except for the ones that were already famous before the show.
Rosamund Pike.
Rosamund Pike and Daniel Henney are still known quantities. The
What else
rest of
has he?
them,
What else has he done? I
he's
don't
been
know. I
in
don't know
some
him from
like
anything.
he's been in some like sitcom type things, I think. But they were known quantities before going into Wheel of Time. The rest of them, I don't talk. I'm not in Showren. I don't count. She was in season 3 barely enough. She wasn't in it long enough to really matter. But uh,
Yeah.
none of the actors or actresses that weren't already names in Hollywood gained a name for themselves from the show. In fact, they probably hurt them. They're probably not going to get work because of the show.
Oh
So
man.
I would imagine. I saw Min's actress showed up somewhere. I couldn't remember where it is now, but she showed up in a show looking like a female, and I was like, "Is that Min?" I was like, "Wow, she
Like
cleaned
they
up okay."
like she looks like Rose Tico's actress. She actually looks really pretty in person or
Yeah,
in real life
she looked
compared to
like a norm.
how
She looked
they
like a chick.
showed her.
She looked pretty good. Yeah, she was looking like a foxy little girl or a woman. Like I shouldn't say little girl, a little foxy lady.
I
Like
mean, isn't that? I mean, that's supposed to be how Min is in the book, right? I mean, she's a little bit of
well,
a tomboy, but she's still really pretty. I
of
think,
course,
isn't
no.
she?
Min is a hot number in the books. Like, don't get it
Yeah,
twisted, right? But like the look, it was a freaking miscast from the beginning.
yeah.
Even if she's yeah,
I could not believe that was her. You guys had to point out to me that that was Min when I did my initial watch of season
yeah.
1. Wow.
Even if you like her, or even we can even say she's a decent looking woman. Not Min. Never Min. She wasn't Min. It wasn't even close.
All right, so traditional Eldritch Disco, what's going on? We got Grifter 23X himself. What's going on, buddy? Thanks for good to see you, man. We got Dark Wolf 735. What's going on, buddy? The Breath of the Wild. Well, I'm not. I already made a comment last week about the Avatar. I'm glad you like Breath of the Wild. Certain prophet loves it too.
I do.
I do. You know what? I do want to do. I do want to resume. I have a whole bunch of Switch games I need to catch up on. I'll try. I'll try to make a return to Tears of the Kingdom. I'll try to make a return to Tears of the Kingdom.
Maybe.
So.
I mean, it's one of those, like, you know, if you didn't like Breath of the Wild, odds are you're not going to like Tears of the Kingdom, because, you know, Tears of the Kingdom was just basically a DLC that got a mind of its own.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I'm just curious how it plays out. So we'll
mean,
see.
for
I
you,
have a lot of games. I still have not completed Echoes of Wisdom or
for you, I would imagine you'd have to separate it from, if you can separate it from being a Zelda game,
yeah, I
you'd
think I
probably
could.
enjoy it better.
Well, I managed to do that with Andor, Andor.
Yeah, if it was like, if it was cell shaded Elden Ring, you'd be like, oh, okay, this game's not bad. But
yeah,
that's the big thing. I've always, whenever we talk about Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, it's, you know, it doesn't feel like a Zelda game with no Triforce or dungeons and stuff like that, right?
yeah.
I mean, that's what some of the bigger issues you have with the game is. It just doesn't feel like that the Zelda games you're looking for, right? I not to put words in your mouth, but
No,
I feel like that's what you said.
You and I we've argued about this.
I don't know that
really
we've argued, disagreed. I think is fair.
All right, disagree,
motherfucker.
Right, yes, there you go.
Demonetized. I'm here. You know,
yes,
you're gonna get demonetized.
This is Shad's new sidekick right here in the chat.
Don't
right
worry,
now.
it would just be the one time. I got very lucky, very fortuitous.
We got
be on Night's Watch. It was fun.
We got Staple Bro himself, Lord Vader. If you like, you know, he's gonna definitely be a future Chilporial guest. So stay tuned for that. We have Salvis, who followed you here. He followed Prophet of the Lord Dragon here. So, and then we got Max. What's going on, buddy? Don't get me demonetized.
Too late.
And then we got I Am Vendel. What's up, buddy? I Am Vendel. We got Alexander Nurendun. And
what's up, Alex?
We got a Salty Traveling Sea. You're only as good as your last role. Production. Yosha at least did that shitty race car movie, but that bombed too. Oh yeah,
Gran
that's right.
Turismo.
Oh, that's right. Was it bad?
He wasn't even a frick. He didn't even get on the cover art.
Oh, okay. So he wasn't like, was he like the villain or something?
He was like the lead villain. He was like the mean driver of the opposition car. He wasn't even like, yeah, it was, yeah, no, poor guy.
Does he does he make a good villain like Yosha? I liked him when he was crazy in was season 3 episode 1.
So it wasn't so much a villain. It was like he's just like a stuck up. He did fine in the movie. The movie's just not good, right? He played basically an arrogant, self-righteous, rich prick, and he did fine.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I could totally see that.
Yeah, no, he did fine. Like the movie's just not good, but he didn't really. You know, it's one of those. They didn't think enough of him to put him. He's not a big enough draw to make it to the cover. It's like. There's no starring Joshua Stardowski, man who played Randall Thor, who followed Egwene around while she did everything for him. Told him to stop being a man and take his penis off.
Oh, man.
And he did. Oh, sorry.
So I met you. So I mean, it's funny. It's been, I think I met you 3 years ago. I think we met you. I met you through Salty. Yep. And I think initially I was looking for people to do a Lord of the Rings stream, which to this day I still have not completed. We did Fellowship couple parts, and then we did Two Towers couple parts. I've never done Return. I've never gotten to Return of the King, and it's been 3 years. Yeah, but I think that was the first time I had you on, and then I found out you told me that you liked Better Call Saul, and I wanted to do a Better Call Saul after show. Yep. kind of like, you know, how Nerdrotic and Doomcock did the Game of Thrones after show and all that. I want to do something like that for you know, the final season of Better Call Saul. And I just wanted to be yeah, Salty, you're Cupid. Yeah, yeah, we've been through everything together, the two of us. So but yeah, we covered Better Call Saul, and I didn't know you were a wheel. I didn't even know you were a Wheel of Time channel until, like, you know, you had your own stream. I think you just got monetized. You had Salty on. You had I think first time I ever saw Pips was on your stream, and you guys were talking Wheel of Time. And I was like, Wheel of Time. Oh, I read that first book years ago. And I remember I remember trying to watch the first episode because I was curious about it. And I didn't, I'm like, am I not remembering anything from that first book? I'm like, I don't remember any of this. When did Egwene get thrown into or when did Egwene get thrown into a river? When did, why is there all this sex? Like, where's Winter Night? They barely did touch Winter Night, and he didn't carry his dad. I was like, what is this? They took the first 10 chapters and they crammed it into one episode. Like,
Well,
if it were me adapting it, I would have ended the first episode. It would have been either 10, 11, 12 episodes. That first episode would have ended at the end of chapter 5. And then the beginning of chapter 6 would be him carrying his father, Tam, in the woods while being hunted, and then it would cut to Nynaeve or Perrin. So the only difference with episode 1 compared to the book would be we'd see Perrin, because I don't think we got introduced to Perrin until after they left.
Yeah,
basically it was Ewan Finnegar who was the third wheel with Matt and Rand initially. So but we'd introduced to it would be a lot. It'd be mostly the same stuff. You know, there'd be some additional scenes, like we'd probably meet Matt's parents. You know, we'd probably see the attack also from Matt and Perrin's perspective.
Yeah,
additional to Winter Night.
Yeah, there's plenty to do. Well, that was Winter Night, right? I mean, it's one of those. It was just Winter Night wasn't them attacking the Wine Spring Inn. It was them attacking the farms of the boys, because that's who they were after.
Yes.
But the show lost the plot right away because we wanted to have our mystery box that never fucking panned out, right?
Yeah, because the dragon could be a man or the dragon could be a woman, even though, you know, and they disregarded Saidar and Saidin, well, and that's what I think took people out of the series in the first 5 minutes.
They don't even think. It's so fundamentally broken. And I know you wanted to talk about Andor before, if we want to.
We'll talk Andor later.
Whatever. They didn't even think about it from the start. It's so fundamentally broken. It's like, so and part of me sometimes wonders what it would have been like in the writer's room, because, you know, somebody had to sit down and go, we should make it that the dragon can be the girls too. And somebody's like, oh yeah, that's a great idea, because we don't, you know, we girl power, right? Blah, 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 blah. But nobody in their right mind had the wherewithal to stand up and go, well, no, because if it's a girl, then nobody has a reason to be scared. You can't fulfill the prophecy. How is the world going to get torn in two if a female is a dragon? If the female is the dragon reborn, there's no issue. They're not a mad woman. They're not going to go mad from channeling the one power. If a woman is the dragon reborn,
there'd be no Aes Sedai.
You win. You're fine. Yeah. You're great. Things are great, because you just find that person and you train them up, and everything's hunky-dory. The whole point of the Dragon Reborn being scary was the fact that he was destined to go mad and destroy the world because it's a man. But that's also why they decided to do I think they decided to tank Saidin and Saidar for that exact same reason, because they wanted to do the mystery box thing with the dragons. So they're like, well, if we just make it the one power and it's the men that are the problem, not the power, then maybe we can make it, you know, work. And it's just like, it still doesn't work at all, but it's ridiculous.
It's not the men's fault. It's because, you know, if you read the book, it's because the Dark One basically counterstroke them was sealing the bore, if I remember correctly, sealing the
Yep.
bore in the Dark One counterstroke and
Yep.
tainted Sidene. So every time you use Sidene,
Yep.
get that oil slicky feeling,
Yep.
and it messes with your and messes with your
It's
mind.
one
And
of those things.
all the men went crazy and they just destroyed the
It,
world.
it's one of those things that will be probably the debate that will never get an answer. Everybody has their own truth when it comes to the sealing of the bore. The number one thing, the number one thing that I think is irrefutable is Louis Theron did nothing wrong. Um, Louis Theron and the 100 Companions had to do what they did. They had no choice. The other choice of sitting around and doing nothing was not going to get it done.
I got a question
Now,
for you.
whether
Yeah,
the counterstroke would have tainted both Sidene and Sidar, or
yeah,
the big debate is
yeah.
whether if the women supported Louis Theron and the 100 Companions and went and helped seal the bore, the discussion is, would the bore have been sealed correctly and the Dark One been imprisoned correctly, or would the counterstroke have tainted all of the One Power, man and woman, alike?
I,
So that's
I
the
mean,
debate to have. Louis Theron was
based on the
Louis Theron
theme,
was 100% correct. Period. You can't convince me otherwise.
based on the theme of Wheel of Time, I think Robert Jordan was going for um, the fact that the women didn't help, and that's why things went south, especially with the men and with
Well, yeah.
Sidene,
So
and
right.
they didn't get the proper support that they needed to.
Agreed. Well, because everything big in the series happens with men and women working together. So that's the debate. Is
Yes,
what, the state of the world is actually on you because you refused to go help. So
yes,
since you didn't help, we didn't get to make links upon links of men and women together to generate enough one power to
yeah.
seal the bore properly. Since we couldn't do that,
And men can't link. If I
right?
mean, I'm far
Exactly.
enough to
Yeah,
know
you
that
can't
men
like.
cannot
Yep.
link. You need a woman. You need at least
Yep.
one woman, right,
Yep.
to
Yep.
link with a bunch of men.
Yep. So
So
that was the plan, was to just giant link, pour power to the bore,
yeah,
seal it. Um, since the women didn't go, you didn't get that link. They sealed it the best they could. It wasn't good enough, and counterstroke tainted it. That's the
I
debate, whether the counterstroke would have been effective or not, and if it would have got both sides. Louis Theron did nothing wrong. He was absolutely
you
right.
know, yeah,
Yeah,
I don't. I mean, at this point in the story, I don't think so. I do have a question though, but if it's a read and find out, let me know.
yeah.
Do we find out why they sealed the Forsaken instead of killing them during the Age of Legends? Is that a read and find out? Because I don't think
It's
that was
not,
ever
you
explained.
don't really get a just
Is it just
a
because
definitive
they
answer.
the Dark One can just bring them back or something? Is that why they
Well,
didn't?
I think in somebody in chat that's more versed in some of this could correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's just more they were all there fighting, and they just ended up getting sealed with the Dark One when the prism was made. So they just were closer or further away from the Dark One when the bore was sealed up. So that's why they were trapped in there. They were all, the Forsaken were all there actively fighting when the bore was actually sealed. So that's how they got sealed away with him. Um, Ishmael was the one that was sealed the furthest away. That's why he was out first.
Yeah.
And there's always the thing where he was able to come out. I forget how it worked, but he could come out and affect the world every, I think was it 100 years? I don't know. He was able to come out, fuck around with the world, and then he had to go
1,000.
back.
I think
Was it once every thousand he could
Bane and
come out?
Spakel both said 1,000 years.
Yeah,
So
well, I
every
feel like
1,000.
so Ishmael could
So
come
the
out,
Trolloc
fuck around.
Wars.
Yeah. So yeah,
Yeah.
every major thing, it was basically instigated by Ishmael, and then he'd have to go back, and then yada yada yada. Um, thousand for 20 years. Hmm? Every 1,000 for 20 years.
So 1,000 years after so the Trolloc Wars, the Arthur Hawkwing, and present day, I think.
Yep. Yeah. So it was the yeah. So I don't know if that answered your question, but the sealing of the bore, the Forsaken got sealed with him basically as just an after effect of actually being there fighting. It just the prison enveloped them, and they just happened to get sealed in with them with uh whatever you know
Yeah.
whatever you know what I mean, whatever weave they used to seal the bore, it just sucked the Forsaken in too, and they got trapped with one because
Okay.
they were
All
there
right.
fighting. Because the implication is they were there fighting, protecting the Dark One, so it was a weave that trapped them as well
Yeah,
because
it's
they were
I mean,
in the vicinity.
so Path of Daggers so far has been a little bit been pretty rough. Been on the same two
It's a
chapters for
drag.
like a couple weeks.
It's
But
slow.
there was one thing that I thought was interesting, and you learn about the nature of weaves. So apparently, weaves leave a residue that can be read by some.
Yep.
So apparently, taking apart a weave, thread by thread, can be very dangerous. I don't fully understand the consequences of it, but apparently, I listened far enough, so I'm reading it, but I listened far enough to know that I think Elaine uses it as the weapon against the
So
encroaching Sean Chan,
so
basically.
you know what happened. So that's the consequence then. So if you know what she did, that's the consequence of unraveling it. What she did was extremely dangerous.
Yeah, so like so Avienda, that gets set up by Avienda taking apart the weave because she sees Moradin in the
Right.
distance. She sees Moradin in the distance. She gets terrified of Moradin, and she's like, "Okay, I don't want him following us." So she takes it apart, and then the other Aes Sedai are like, "What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Like you're going to kill us all if you keep
It's
doing
one
this."
of
And she's
those
like,
things.
"Oh, I know how to." She's like, "Oh, I know we and the wise ones know how to do this shit. We know how to do this shit."
It's another thing that shows you how stupid Aes Sedai are. It's another thing on top of the stack of things that Aes Sedai believe they know and they don't, because they're just arrogant and dumb.
Yeah, I'm just the one thing I'm surprised is that there's besides Avienda, there's no other Aiel. I don't think there's any other Aiel with them. So it'd be funny. You have the Athon Mir who are there with the Windfinders are there with the Aes Sedai. They're driving each other nuts. It's too bad there's no wise ones there to drive them even further nuts. Further nuts,
Which
Um,
is, that's what I would have cut the wise one straight out of the book, or right out of the show. No reason to have any Anthony. No, what did I say? Not wise ones.
Athon Mir,
Uh,
the sea folk.
sea folk. Yeah, would have got rid of the sea folk straight up. Don't need them. Good riddance to bad rubbish.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to the rest of it's a long chapter, but I'm looking forward to reading the rest of it and just seeing the
Yeah,
implications and all that.
so Crown of Swords isn't. I didn't find to be as much of a struggle. Um, Path of Daggers is a little bit of a struggle, and then Winter's Heart can be, but the end of Winter's Heart is extremely good.
Yeah, I
Um,
think I know because I've watched videos about the slog. I know like the plot points. I know like what happens. I just don't know what leads up to them.
yeah.
So
But
so I know what
and
I
then
know what happens at the end of yeah.
Crossroads is still going to be. I think Crossroads is going to be the worst in anyone's book. And anybody on anybody's list, Crossroads is probably the worst. But it's one of those. There's a reason for it. It's basically like a Feast of Crows from Game of Thrones. It's like a bunch of stuff that they had to remove from Winter's Heart because they didn't want to release a 1,500-page book at that time.
Yeah.
So Crossroads was supposed to be part of Winter's Heart. So it was basically just all the extra shit they cut out of Winter's Heart and they had to make a book of it. So
And all that stuff takes place. All that stuff in Crossroads of Twilight take place at the same time as the end, like the last couple
yeah,
chapters of Winter's Heart. Hence why you don't see, hence why you don't see the consequences of the big major event at the end of that book. Only thing I know about Crossroads of Twilight is that Elaine has a very big part in trying to solidify her throne or something in Camelin. I mean, that's all I know. So she's back in Camelin. And I know like parents looking for his wife. So I mean those
Yeah.
spoilers I know and everything, but I don't know what else. I don't know what leads up to it. I can't really say. I don't even know how it ends. I just hear Dane told me there's not really a climax, so it just goes. So I'm just seeing 8,
Yeah.
9, and 10 as like a single book, just to
Well, and that's that.
like
Yeah.
setting up
No. No.
11, 12, and the rest
Well,
basically.
and here we get here we get to the big fucking. Sorry, we get into the big controversy when we're talking about the show,
Mm-hmm.
because even if we say they wanted to run 8 seasons, okay, first you fight for 10 episodes. If they'll give you 12, you take 12. If you can get to 12 episodes, you can tell, you can do a Eye of the World, Great Hunt, Dragon Reborn. You can give the first 6 books. You can give a whole season of television if you can get 12 episodes, even 10 maybe.
Wait,
With
12 for each book, or
I would say I would prefer 12 episode seasons, 10 at the
yes?
least, 12 episode seasons. But
I
I am
mean,
a
yes,
firm
like
believer
there's
that even with 8, you could have done 6 season television and just made them books 1 through 6, because as you're seeing right now, 7, 8, and 9 and 10, because that's Crossroads. I wholly believe that those 4 books can be what it could have been made into 1 season of television. There's enough stuff that you can cut out of Path of Daggers, Crossroads of Twilight, or Crossroads of Twilight, Winter's Heart, A Path of Daggers, and A Crown of Swords. There's enough stuff you can cut out, especially if you got rid of the Sea Folk,
yeah,
that you can make those 4 books into 1 season. Easy, in my opinion.
12,
So
12
that's what
episodes.
that. Well, I think even 10, 8, even if it was 8, look, there's not a ton there.
And
If we're
would it
being honest,
and it would end with the end of book 9 basically?
it would end with the end of Winter's Heart. Yes, that's
Okay.
where that arc would end, in my opinion. And then yeah, yeah, because you could start up the next season with Perrin going after Fael and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you get into Knife of Dreams and the rest, it gets a little bit harder because there's a lot to finish up.
Yeah.
There I think you definitely need 12 episode seasons to do it justice. But if you're talking the half of the, I think you could easily, and at that point when you're in season 6, if you're doing these books justice, the ratings are going to be so high that whatever network is producing the show is going to be begging for more seasons because it's going to be so popular. I am a firm believer of this, that if you did the Eye of the World in season 1, even if you gave them 8 episodes to do Eye of the World, and you did Eye of the World,
Yeah.
the popularity would have been so vast and so large that the next season they would have said, "Do you want 10? You want 12 episodes? If you can
Yeah.
do 10 or 12 episodes, do it." And they would have been given. It's like, because that's what happened with Game of Thrones. Dan and Dave fucked that up. They wanted 2 more seasons of Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
They
they
wanted a
wanted
full 8 episodes season
they,
8. They wanted 10 seasons, and
even
they were just
even
done.
George was saying we should do
Yeah,
13 episode seasons. They're like, no, they didn't want to put in the
yeah.
work.
They didn't want
They
to
didn't
put.
want
They were
to.
done. They're the ones. HBO wanted it. They didn't want to produce it because they're stupid. Because
They,
that's
what I think they should have did, and this would have been they would have been popular. They would have left with the perfect record. They really wanted to adapt the Red Wedding. They should have left after season 3. If they would have left after season 3, someone else
Yeah,
took
that's all they
over.
wanted to do. If they
Yeah,
didn't want to do Lady Stoneheart and all the magical stuff, if that wasn't their deal, do
yeah,
the Red Wedding and hand it off. Be
exactly.
like, look, we're not into the magic stuff. We wanted to do the political stuff. We've got to play around, and we're happy with where we got. We're gonna hand it off to these people. These people have more insight onto that shit.
Yeah,
If they're done, but why just fucking shit can the whole thing? It's the weirdest thing how they just those two just shit can like Rafe Judkins has done the exact same thing. I don't know. Rafe Judkins isn't gonna. I don't think he's got a job right now.
Yeah, he's out of God of War. He's. I mean, a lot of people are trying to save Wheel of Time, and what was the petition? 50,000.
Oh, yeah, they're rocking it at 56,000. Oh wow, and
Dude,
56,000 in
somebody
4 days.
somebody made a petition right after Game of Thrones season 8 came out, saying Dan and Dave are totally incompetent, and we want them to reduce season 8, and that got 1.8 million signatures. I know I'm one of them. I know I was one of them. I mean, was it going to happen? No.
Just to put it in perspective, they have 4 days. This petition to save it has been up, which is a joke. It's a joke to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
4 days it's been up. 56,000 signatures. Over 100 million copies of Wheel of Time have sold, and you can only get 56,000 signatures. You can only muster 160,000 on your renew petition. You couldn't even get to 500,000 to get it renewed because nobody wants this show. The show is crap. You can have as many shill websites say over and over again how great it is.
Yeah.
Oh man, season 3 was there. Wheel of Time was just hitting its stride. Season 2 and 1 were really dog shit, but season 3 was great. It's like
I'm hearing every season shit too.
They did it all season 2. Man, season 1 was really crap. But season 2, man, they're really come out firing. They really tell the greatest story, man. And that's finale was really the best ever. It's like,
and then they're saying, "Oh, it's okay to make these crazy changes. Oh, you're just biased and all that." I'm like, no, that's not what you do. Not that's not how you do an adaptation, especially
it's not okay,
an initial adaptation.
Watched.
Yeah, people wanted to see what Robert Jordan wrote brought to the screen. The same way, people wanted to see what Tolkien wrote brought to the screen by Peter Jackson, and even early Game of Thrones. That's what people wanted. They decided, they felt that they knew better. They knew better than Robert Jordan. They felt that, let's subvert expectations. Like, look how far Ryan Johnson got with that strategy with Star Wars, not Star Wars, Disney Wars 8.
Yeah, well, it's weird too because Ryan Johnson is the only one that sort of survived this destruction. Even J.J. Abrams is not doing anything right now.
He's not doing. I mean, he was supposed to be doing DC stuff. He has.
Yeah.
You know what he's been doing? He was getting, the last time I saw him, he was at the Democratic National Convention getting trolled by some YouTuber guy. I forget his name, but he likes to go around trolling people and all that. So.
He's in hiding as far as I know. Like
like now James Gunn, like he was supposed to work on stuff. Now he's not. Now James Gunn has taken up the reins. Is doing all the DC stuff. Ryan Johnson's going to make like 10 sequels to what the hell's that movie?
Knives Out,
Knives Out,
or whatever. Yeah,
Knives Out, Glass Onion. Glass Onion's a Beatles song. How dare they take a great Beatles song and make a sequel.
Oh god! Well, yeah, he's just gonna keep me. That's all he's gonna do for the creative Glass Onion. It's picante carrot. It's like, what? No, what the fuck? Make another movie, bro. Like, oh wait, you can't. Oh yeah, sorry.
Well, remember Ryan Johnson was supposed to make a trilogy. They announced, like, Kathleen Kennedy announced this right before The Last Jedi came out. Like, dude, he was gonna make his own. He was going to make his own trilogy of movies, and that never. I mean, how long has it been? That's been over 7.5 years ago now.
I'm so glad I covered the Acolyte because I can't wait for Rey Skywalker to come out so I can actually just unload. Like because oh god, that movie is going to be so bad, and like it's like, okay, the YouTube channel is up. This time it wasn't up for Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker. So, well, it might have been for Rise of Skywalker, but I wasn't in that. But this time I'm freaking.
Yeah.
That if that movie gets made, we'll see, but uh, yeah. So, but not
hold
to
that
get
hold
too
that thought really
not
quickly.
too
I
much
want
on a
to.
tangent there, but
All right, but
I need to get up for a
we're on the
second.
topic of Star Wars, so I think maybe this would be a good time to kind of we'll go back to Wheel of Time, but
Yeah. Give
but
me
before
2 seconds.
that,
I'll be right back.
all right. So I want to thank Ms. Marn Muses for a 99-cent super sticker. Thank you. I don't know what the super sticker is because I'm only on StreamYard right now. So, but yeah, doesn't work that way. The show should have gone season 4 because the show fans had to wait 3 seasons to get one good season. Yeah, that's what people like to argue about Star Trek: The Next Generation. It doesn't get good until season 3, which is actually not true. Season 1 had some good episodes. They're not the best, but had some good episodes. Season 2 had some good episodes too. I mean, well, actually, no. Season 2 was the first time you had a really good episode, Measure of a Man. But yeah, The Wire but The Wire, Game of Thrones, like their subsequent seasons got better. Well, Game of Thrones, I think The Wire peaked at season 4. Some people would say season 3, whatever. I think season 5 was a little bit of a step down. Game of Thrones, I think peaked at season 3, went down season 4, then went down 5. I think came up a little bit at 6, then went down 7, then 8, all the way down to the bottom because we all know. But I mean, compared to I watched the battle, the long night, and it's way better than Wheel of Prime. Like that looks like Shakespeare. That looks really good compared to Wheel of Prime, despite all the problems that had too. So, but yeah, I actually one show that I felt actually did better than its first season was Andor. A lot of people were saying Andor was really good. I was just like, you know what, I liked Andor a lot more the second time I watched season 1. I watched it because of Pips. Pips saw it. He got recommended by a buddy of his, and then he recommended it to me. And I watched it initially. And this was before I could divorce the Star Wars brand from it. It was a very different type of show, but it was written like it's written like an HBO show in a way, and it's divided into arcs. Every 3 episodes is an arc. So it had that in common with the Star Wars: The Clone Wars animated show, which was also split up into arcs. Each story had its own arc and all that. So, but season 2 was like episode 8. I could not take my eyes off the screen because of what was going on in that episode. Like things were getting crazy. The Empire was actually really pretty bad. Like they were sacrificing their young men, and it was just there was this point with this character realizing that he was lied to for years, and it was such a powerful moment. By the way, this planet is basically space France. Like they have cafes and I don't know if France is known for its textiles, but yeah, that's what the planet was. The one thing I wanted to see, and we didn't see it, we didn't see what happens to that planet post episode 8. Like I was curious if we were going to see I wanted to see like the mining ships do a number on the planet or something, or see like or I wanted to see like all the forced relocation or something. Unless they killed everybody, I don't know
I
what
got the
exactly.
impression they just left them. Fuck it. They took what they needed and destabilized the planet, and the planet imploded.
Yeah, I was actually hoping to see that.
Well, if they didn't force them to rush it so fast, maybe we would have, right? I mean, there could have been a whole season of the Gorman arc.
Yeah. Like there were two of the arcs focused on Gorman. First one was kind of just building up the propaganda, building up the like they basically created their own rebellion so that they could basically use it as a pretext to
that's my biggest takeaway with that whole thing was I really think anythings the show ended up lacking were because of the constraints that they put on them from taking it from 5 seasons guaranteed to 2 seasons. Like, how do you even do that? So, you've been told you're having a 5-season television show, and then they're like, "No, we changed our mind. 2 seasons." It's like, 2 what? 5 to 2? Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Andor came out right after Kenobi, so like it was because of shows like Kenobi and and Boba Fett, and
Well, the Acolyte.
Acolyte came out after Andor season 1.
Oh, you're talking about season 1. Sorry.
Yeah, and I think the reason why they did what they did with Andor season 2 and wrapping it up really quickly was because not enough people watched Andor season 1. Probably because of how how Obi-Wan was received, how Boba Fett was received, and
It
how the
didn't really.
sequel
Andor
trilogy was
season 1
received.
didn't. Well, I think the mistake with the Andor was calling it Andor. Even if you wanted to make Cassian Andor one of the main characters, it should have been like called Rise of the Resistance or.
I mean, they already did a show called Star Wars Rebels for the animated. They already did an
but
animated show.
it just calling it Andor was the problem because it was like I remember everybody going when they announced they were doing Andor. You're gonna do a TV show about the guy that got killed in Rogue One. Who gives a fuck?
And he wasn't even the best character in the movie. Like, I think Donnie Yen's character, and I liked K2SO in Rogue One. I did not like K2SO in Andor. I felt him kind of saving the day in the beginning of the finale, kind of ruined the tension. I feel like personally, I felt how they're in the apartment and episode 11 ends with the ISB guy, the gay ISB guy, with basically closing in on them and everything.
Yep.
I was hoping that they would find a way to escape. Someone would come bring their ship and they would flee without basically killing them. They would just simply you wouldn't have K2SO saving the day, throwing them and all that. Or if you're going to do that, you should have another other powerful droid to kind of counter K2SO. Don't just have him save the day and make this like a cartoon, because it felt, I mean, the serious nature of the show, and when there's a firefight, when there's any type of fight, you get scared because people in this season were dropping like flies. Like,
Yep.
this was even in season 1, which was something I didn't really appreciate the first time watching, was that every time you get into a fight, there's casualties, and there's casualties of people that you meet in these arcs. They introduce new characters, and then some of them die, some of them live, and that's kind of what made the show, less predictable and all that. And just so I'm on the edge of my seat. That's why when I was watching episode 8, the Gorman the Gorman thing, I'm just like, I literally had my eyes go to the screen. And that's what I was hoping the finale of season 1 was going to be like. And season 1 finale had the same issue. It became a little cartoony with how, Empire personnel were being dispatched. The guy, the dude in the first arc, the big dude, he carried this big wrench. He was just knocking stormtroopers back. I'm just like, oh, this doesn't really match the tone and all that. But that's a nitpick.
I disagree. I like K2SO. I thought it was fine. Personally, I mean, I get what you're saying.
But the thing was, it was predicted. It was too predictable. I'm like, oh, he's just.
Well, I mean, it was, but
that was it. I was just like,
it was predictable because we watched Rogue One. If you haven't watched Rogue One, you don't know. And then if you haven't watched Rogue One, this also shows how bad these assassin droids are when it comes to human beings. So I think I actually enjoyed K2SO coming to the rescue. One, because just of the levity he brings, because he's just like, of his personality. But also the reason I liked it actually is probably, it sounds like the opposite of why you didn't like it. I liked it because they were in a unescapable position. There was nowhere for them to go. They were fucked.
Yeah.
So
I think it should have been.
It was the only feasible way for them to get out was K2SO. They were reserved to being stuck. They had no way out. They didn't even know K2SO was coming because their comms were all fucked up. I think it was better than like having the side of the building blown off and then they can get away or some weird. At least this is something in world that actually could happen and is feasible because those assassin droids are made to do those things. So I that's my take on it. I get what you're saying, but I was fine
Yeah,
with it.
I wanted a more barely narrow, like a narrow escape type of thing. I don't know.
Yep, no, I get it.
I felt like it would have matched more with with what was going on. But yeah,
I get what you're saying. It
and
just
here
didn't bother
and then
me.
the addition of K2SO just didn't really make sense. Like, why is he all of a sudden interested in taking this droid and fixing this droid? Like, this droid just murdered a bunch. These droids just murdered a bunch of people. You want to get the hell out of there. So, I mean, that was
Well,
just, I mean, that I know that was meant to connect to Rogue One. Tony Gilroy himself said, Gary Whitta and what's his name, Gareth Edwards came up with a backstory.
I think
I'm gonna undo it because I rewrote Rogue One or something like that.
I think that's more of a lack of time to do so because Cassian sort of proved himself to be pretty crafty when it comes to just taking parts and making use out of them. Making use out of the things that he can make use out of. So I think it felt like a rush job because it was a rush job, right? They were just out of time, so it was like, well, we got to get K2SO in here somewhere, so let's just have him get hit by a car. Right? And it's like I think that's one of the things that was just sort of like, well, we got to get it done, and we're out of time, so we gotta get it done, right? So, so I get feeling like that. I get that feeling, but that I think I honestly think most of the setbacks that the show has can be directly pointed at the fact that they took all this time away from it. I really think each arc could have been its own season.
Yeah, I was curious, like how the first arc. So
Not the first arc. The first arc sort of wasn't very good because, like, I don't know what they. I thought we were going to get all type of technology coming from that. Like, I thought they were going to backwards. Do some backwards stuff with the TIE Avenger. I thought they were going to That's how they were going to get like all kinds of different weapon systems and stuff. I thought they were going to take it apart and apply it to their weapon to their spacecraft or something. The TIE Avenger doesn't come back into the story at all. It's like, so well, then why did we do it? I don't understand.
So I was curious what the story was behind that. Why he was stealing that.
I thought it was good.
And then he goes on this planet. He comes across these buffoons, these buffoons that don't trust each other, and then they end up fighting each other. And he flees during the malarkey, I'll call it. And then we find out that as he's fleeing, that the planet he was on was Yavin.
Yep.
So I'm not sure what they were going to do, if like those guys would be future members of the rebellion or something.
Well, that's supposed to be the beginning of the rebellion. It's just showing how disorganized and fragmented the rebellion is at that stage.
Okay. All right. So I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure who those guys were because he was supposed to meet someone else and then they killed him. I wasn't sure if they were locals or.
It wasn't. I think everybody agrees it wasn't done very well. But those two groups of people are supposed to be the beginning of the rebel forces on Yavin, and just showing where it's sort of beginning and how fractured and not organized it is at that point. And then you jump to the next time you go to Yavin and you can see it's changed quite a bit.
They did. They did the. I mean, you had Saw Gerrera on Yavin in, I think, the second arc, and then all of a sudden, I don't know if it was the third arc. Yeah, the third arc was where we see like the rebellion
was Saw on
as
Yavin?
It was in Rogue One. Yeah, I believe they were. I believe they were during the second arc.
You might be right. I don't remember if he was on Yavin or if
he wasn't on. He moves to Yavin. He was on Yavin. And then they find the mole, the ISP. I don't know if he was
right, and then they fake them out, and then go to Yavin to drop off all this stuff, right, or something like that. Yeah,
same actor that I don't know. Remember 1883? He was like the head of the German group or something like that. That was the same actor. I was like, oh, I know that guy. 1883. He's probably in a whole bunch of other shows too. I thought, it's just, So. For most part, I like the show. I mean, like I said, the K2SO thing is just like a preference for how a tonal preference for me. And then there's one other thing I got into a discussion with, and I wasn't sure what to think about it at first, because I know what the show is trying to do, but the implications of that. at the same time just didn't sit right with me. And this is the whole Bix thing, leaving him at the end of episode 9. So she leaves so that Andor can continue to fight for the sake of everybody's future in the galaxy and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, and maybe I'm misremembering this, but he was done. He did enough. There's other people that can take up the mantle for him. He wanted to settle down. Now maybe he didn't actually mean that. Maybe I have to rewatch it to maybe pick up on more of the subtext. But that was kind of my impression. And then she kind of made that decision for him. And we know his fate. And then at the very end, she has a child. And so that child now doesn't have, father. Because
So
I mean, I don't know how you feel about that. I got into some disagreements. This is just something that I picked up on.
So I forget. She leaves after he saved Mon, right? Mon Mothra is on Yavin before she leaves, right?
Yeah, that was episode 9. Yeah.
Right. So that's why first I had an issue that she didn't tell him that he had a son or had a baby, or was it they were having a baby?
Yeah.
Because like you said, like I think I'm sort of on the same page as you.
Well, she didn't want him to.
Cassian doesn't need to be there. He did, like, especially in anybody that feels that way is proven right by Rogue One, because what he does in Rogue One could have been done by any schmuck with an aircraft, and like in my opinion, I don't think what we see afterwards is this big, like,
he's not Luke Skywalker.
I mean, it's like it's not this big thing where only if Cassian left, we would have been lost. I didn't feel like Cassian did his thing, and he did his thing well. He was a good spy. He was able to get information there. But is the rebellion not going to function right without Cassian Andor? I don't think so.
No, I think
the Rebel Alliance would have went on just fine if he just left and raised his family. So I was, I get that, but now he dies not knowing that, or give him the choice to because if he is the man that you think he is, or you're telling us he is, you're going to tell him that you're pregnant, and you're going to say you need to stay and make the galaxy safe for our child. He's going to make the choice to stay and do that.
Yeah.
So you've taken that choice away from him. So now he doesn't even get to make that choice.
Yeah, that's what makes this all the more tragic.
So for me, it's one of those, like, being a father. Maybe well, you're not yet.
I'm not a father.
You're not yet, but it's one of those that's my big thing is I think the conversation should have been, look, I'm done, and him sort of going like, well, I'm done too, and her going, look, no, you need to not be done. The galaxy needs you. Blah blah blah, and him saying like, fuck the galaxy, I've done enough of the galaxy, and then her telling him that she's pregnant and being like, our child needs you to see this through, because I can't raise a child in this empire.
Yeah,
and it's hard, but it's a sacrifice, it's a sacrifice we need to make to protect the galaxy, right?
Yeah,
let him make that sacrifice, for the greater good, to protect Bix and his child, the woman that his father is he loves, that is giving him a child, right? Let him have that choice. Let him make the heroic sacrifice. Yeah. Instead, he doesn't get to do that. He doesn't even get to know that he has a kid.
Yeah, if you've seen Rogue One, he's pretty much a scoundrel. I mean,
yeah. Well, it doesn't. His character in Rogue One does not match up with Andor in Andor. Cassian
Yeah, I
Andor.
mean,
I
yeah, I
like
mean,
Cassian Andor in the Andor series. I do not like Cassian Andor in Rogue
in
One.
Rogue One, no, yeah, totally different, different people writing it. So, I mean, Gilroy rewrote certain parts of Rogue One, so that they kind of dismissed Gareth Edwards, and then Gilroy kind of came in, took over for all the reshoots and all that. And I don't know if he was the one that came up with the Andor backstory. Probably that's probably why they gave it to him and all that. But but yeah, like I don't know, it wasn't something I picked up on right away. This was something that I thought about like the last couple of days, and I was just like, there's implication. I mean, there's implications for making that type of story choice, and I mean, to me, it's not nearly as bad, but it harkens back to Picard. Remember with Picard, and Beverly didn't tell him he had a son. There was no, I mean,
Bro,
I mean, it's not the same thing. The Picard thing was just totally
yeah.
unacceptable. Like that.
So, but I have an actual theory in my head that I think maybe this whole thing with Bix, because I felt like it was very rushed and very weird. I
Yeah.
think that was something that was actually they had to shorten up and cut because of time. In my head canon, I think that Bix tells him that she's pregnant and they all leave. Somebody from the Rebel Alliance, it's not going well and they need him back and they come get him and he has to make the choice to leave them to help save the galaxy or something like that.
Yeah.
I think that's probably I think that's better.
Yeah.
That he has the meeting with the higher ups and says, "Look, I've done my part. I've sacrificed Luthen. Luthen's now dead too. I've sacrificed so much for this rebellion. I've got this whole thing. I'm done. I'm about to have a child. I'm out of here. I've given all I can give." He goes, and things start going bad, and they lose their intelligence network or something, and things start going. And Mon Mothma shows up, or somebody shows up and has a sit down with him. Says, "All right, Cassian, things are just not going well. We need you back."
Yeah.
And he chooses to go back. I just don't like. I don't like that he wasn't told. I don't like that the choice was made for him.
Yeah, I don't like it either. So
That's so.
Yeah, so I mean, it just
he doesn't make the heroes. He doesn't make the hero's choice. The hero's choice is forced upon him.
Yeah, all for the sake of oh, everybody's got to make a sacrifice, whatever.
The greater good.
Greater good. Yeah. So, I mean, despite that, I really liked it, and I loved episode. My favorite episode in the season, besides episode 8, was episode 10. And here's the issue I have with episode 10 is that there was no set. Like, how did Daedra find Axis or Luthen? She just shows up. She just shows up in person.
So it's another.
I know it's you. I know it was you.
It's another problem with this just they
because
they didn't
have time. They didn't have time.
It's another one of those things that comes back to all the problems with the season. Most of the problems with the season come to lack of time because they kneecapped them.
It's a lot of
because there had to be so like watching all that shit. There's all that stuff of Lenny, stealing her stuff and going through and discovering the Death Star plans and this, that, the other, and all that stuff that led to her being to find out that right. Okay. We don't get to see any of it because they cut all the time. They didn't give them time to actually do any of it. So it's like,
my favorite moment from my very favorite scene from season 1 was Lonnie and Luthen on the outside the elevator, them talking about being trapped in their roles and all that. And
Kino's speech is pretty good. I was hoping we were going to see him this.
Kino said that was. And what's funny was that was the same episode. That was also episode 10 of season 1. we didn't
I
get we
thought
didn't
we
get
were
this.
gonna see. I thought we were gonna see. I thought he
He
was
he's
cast and we're gonna see him.
he's dead. I think he's dead because I think in the show he says he doesn't know how to swim, and they were all jumping out into the ocean. It was an ocean
Well,
planet, I
now
think.
that he didn't show up, yeah, but
Yeah,
I thought he was. I could have. This could have been pre-cutting of everything that he was supposed to be back to play Kino. So Andy Serkis was
possibly.
supposed to be back to reprise this role, but
He's too busy. He's directing
well, it's
Lord of the
probably
Rings Gollum now.
it may have been pre-cutting of everything, because I really do think most of the problems with this season can be drawn back to lack of time, because they took it from him.
So I did this season. I season one I couldn't stand Clea initially. She was very.
Do you know?
I felt
I learned
I felt she was insufferable because she kept
so
bossing
real
around
quick
Luthen.
though, real
Yeah.
quick before let me interrupt. I'm sorry, and I
Okay.
learned this from watching EFAP go over Andor. This is the first show she's ever been on coming out of acting school.
That's what I heard too. That's what I
Oh,
heard
okay.
too.
Sorry.
So
Continue.
yeah,
That's
she
crazy.
and so like I actually this season I actually cared about her in episode 10. Well, I liked there was the moment where she was messing around with she was trying to take the device off of that time wheel
The art thing.
artifact.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
so she was trying to take it off, and then you have director Krennic in the room, and
yep.
she's using Lonnie. He's like, Lonnie, you better do what I say, or you're gonna be we're gonna mess. We're gonna off you. You know. He's like, he's freaking out, and she's like, stand in the way, and she's trying to unscrew
Yep.
the device, and it's stuck. And so it's
Yep.
one of those, it's one of those, times, there's so many TV shows that do this. Star Trek has done it where, you're running against time and you're trying to, the engineer or someone's trying to do something and the thing is stuck and they can't get it. You're like, oh, what are they going to do? They're going to die. They're all going to die.
Yep.
No. Yeah. So Luthen, yeah. So Stable, you brought up something really, you brought up something interesting, but I loved her journey in episode 10, like her trying to get to Luthen, and while cutting to her backstory and all that. For a second, I thought Tony Gilroy was going to reopen the Andor sister. For a second, I thought Clea was going to be Andor's sister. Apparently, that's not the case.
I'm glad.
She's a different So she's a different character that Luthen, as an Imperial soldier, so I'm guessing shortly after episode 3, encounters and kind of takes her, and they have this relationship. They pretend they're related, and they use it to escape. They use that to escape, and they're like, are we gonna do shit? Yeah, we're gonna do shit against the Empire and all that. So but yeah, so Luthen executing Lonnie like that, I was hoping that I mean, it makes sense for the character, but I was hoping that wouldn't happen, because I was hoping Luthen would do the right thing, because
Well, he did do the right thing for Luthen. That's why it's so
yeah,
good.
yeah,
That's why it's so good, right? Is I'm with you, right? Is a feeling person. Lonnie's done everything right. He's doing it for the right reasons. He's a family man, this, that, the other.
yeah.
Luthen doesn't give a shit about that. He gives a shit about the Empire going down. Luthen being alive is much more risky than him being dead for the rebellion. So he's got to die. And the reason it's good, well, one, it's totally in character, but the other thing is he even applies that to himself.
Yeah, he takes the stone blade artifact, and they're like, "Oh, you ever see this?" And then he just stabs him. He just stabs
I
himself.
wasn't real thrilled with how he fucked up his own assassination. He should have had a cyanide pill, or should have blown up his thing. But I get you want to have the hospital, like, give Clea her moment to go in and fix Luthen's fuck up.
To pull the plug, basically. Yeah.
Luthen's such a smart. He thinks so many steps ahead. I really think they just would have blown up the art studio and been done with it, and everything's gone that way. And I don't even think they should have had to step foot back in there to get rid of everything. But
Yeah. But
it is
like,
what it is.
but yeah, like the whole thing with the execution of Lonnie,
Yeah.
and you just see the hole. You just see him lying. You just
Yep.
see him sitting there dead with the hole in there. It made me. To me, it harkens back to like all those old '70s thrillers, those political thrillers, and all that. Like it was just
It's rough.
it was very haunting to see. Like not just rough. It was
And it's one of those things because I was getting annoyed. I'll be honest. I was starting to get annoyed because, like, dude, shut the fuck up about Yavin. Like, stop saying Yavin. But anybody he said Yavin to, dead. Except for Clea.
Yeah.
So it was one of those, he's saying Yavin. It's like, well, it's not important because he's going to die. So the moment I had a feeling he was actually going to go through with it when he told him about Yavin, because I'm like, that was another thing it's another one of these things. I dump it all on time constraints. I was not real thrilled with how the Rebel Alliance Council wasn't on board as Mon and Andor were about getting Clea back. Clea has information about Yavin.
Yeah.
They need to extract her, exfil her, or kill her as soon as possible. Because if she gets captured, they will extract all the information they need. The minute Clea is in trouble and is a piece on the board, they need to get her out of Coruscant as soon as possible because she knows everything.
Yes.
So it really irritated me that they're all like, "Oh, this could be." It's like, it doesn't matter if it's a trap. You got it. You have to go see it through. And if it's a trap, then somebody's gonna have to sacrifice themselves and kill the. You know what I mean? It's like, you got to get rid of her. You got to get rid of her, and she's prepared for that. She is fully prepared to be shot in the head if need be. Of course, she wants to be saved, but she's just like Luthen that way. I'm pretty sure if you came and just shot her because you couldn't get her, she'd be okay with that. It's not preferred, but so little annoyances. But I think those are time factors. I really do.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. I mean, between that and of course, everybody mentions the fact that they changed Bail Organa's actor.
Well,
they couldn't get Jimmy Smits for some reason.
Yeah, Jimmy Smits was doing like I think it was doing Dexter or something. I don't know.
Oh, really? I thought they killed him in Dexter.
That's what they said. I think it was in one of the sequels.
Oh, okay. I have no idea. But I'm with you on that. I mean, that's another issue. I
really think it's a time thing, though. I think it's just time. They didn't have time.
Yeah, and it was the same with how the Yavin base got started. How it went from Saw Gerrera inhabiting it to the people from Rogue One.
So it would have been great. Like it's again another time constraint because the two people that were most influential in building the Yavin secret rebel base, Saw Gerrera and Luthen, are not there. Luthen is hated there. Saw, who I guess he was there. I don't remember. He was there to get it started. I guess I think is what you. Yeah, I forget. I'd have to go back and watch. But he was there to get the initial thing up and running, and then he's gone. So the two people that built the place are actually at odds with Yavin, sort of. Saws doesn't trust anybody there anymore. He's off doing his own thing, and Luthen is outwardly hated by everybody because Luthen is going to do things the way he wants to do them. So... Mm-hmm. Would have been interesting to see like the building of the base, but again, time. We have none. What can you do, right?
Mm-hmm. So I think the last thing they did was they extracted Clea, and then they just wrapped up. I think they just wrapped up the show. It didn't really feel like a finale. I mean,
it was very. It was. Yeah, I was sort of when it's like I'm listening to it, I'm like, oh, we're getting close to. Okay. I'm seeing people from Rogue One. Okay. I'm hearing names from Rogue One. Okay. Oh, there's the B Wing. Okay. Or the U Wing. Okay.
And then Andor goes off on a mission or to see somebody, and then that's it.
Well, it's the mission
And
that
then we
he's
see.
on, yeah, in Rogue One is what they send him off on, yeah.
Oh, okay. And then of
Oh yeah,
course,
you didn't know
and then
that.
we.
So the mission, the person, the contact he's going to see in Jeddah, mission
Oh,
that
okay.
he's going to
The
Jeddah.
one
Yeah,
that
that's the
the one that he shoots. The
right.
guy freaks out and he shoots and
Yep,
everything. Okay, all right.
that's who they're sending him to see at the end of Andor.
You know how long it's been since I watched Rogue One?
I watched Rogue One right after I watched the end of the season finale, and
I did not.
it fits in pieces. It's still not. It's an okay movie. The best scene is still obviously the Vader scene at the end, but um,
Even though it doesn't really
it's
line up
okay.
with the original Star Wars, in my opinion, but
It doesn't.
it was
It doesn't.
fun.
No, well, so why is Leia in a Corvette on an attacking frigate? Huh? Why is she there? It doesn't make any fucking sense. But okay, how did she get there? Why is she there? What? Okay, whatever. No, I don't. You're right. It doesn't.
To show a familiar face
Yeah.
to
So,
test that
but
technology.
yeah, but it was okay. It wasn't like I wasn't like oh fuck. But Andor is a complete.
Andor is
Andor
definitely
it
better.
feels like a completely different character at the end of Andor to the start of Rogue One.
Yeah,
They don't
like
feel the same at
like you
all.
don't yeah like you don't think he's gonna be like he's not the sketchy
And there's only
he's
so
not
much.
the sketchy guy like he was like he was in Rogue One.
There's so
So
much. There's only so much the show could really do about it, right? But
yeah,
it tried, but it just yeah, it's they had to make him likable. The show's about him, right? So they did a good
yeah,
job making him likable in the show, but he's just not.
yeah. I
It's a
actually
different
liked him a
character.
lot more. I liked him a lot more in season 2. Like he wasn't
Yeah,
like I'd have a beer. I'd have a drink with that guy. So
yeah. No, he was. I liked him in his show. In Rogue One, he's a bit of a yeah, but you know, so it's
so
too
yeah,
bad.
definitely. So yeah. So if you haven't watched Andor, watch Andor, and if you hate Disney Star Wars, just you know what I did? I divorced the Star Wars brand from Andor. So it's just a typical it's just another show, with setup and payoff. And I don't know about you, Steve, but I think it's worthy of earlier HBO shows.
Yeah, no, it was really good. It was still really enjoyable despite the obstacles that were put in front of it.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I can overlook some of the problems it had because some of the problems that they do have I think are clearly because of the time constraints. Clearly.
Yes. Yeah, I'm with you
Um
on that. So
so anything that pops up like, her what's her name? Just showing up and be like, aha, you are Axis. It's like
mhm.
fuck, we don't get to see any of that because they
We
haven't
didn't
have
see get
time
to
to
see any
show
of
us
the
it.
build up. Yep. Yeah, I know. I
God
know.
damn it. And that's the
Yeah.
only so it's like, yes, it sucks and it doesn't make a lot of sense, but they have to do it because they got to move on.
Yeah, I'm curious. I'm curious how much more of Gorman of the second Gorman part they would have shown, and I'm curious, or even the first Gorman stuff. Like, would that series have ended? That season ended with the the extraction of Mon Mothma, or the that friendly fire incident,
Yeah.
where the Indian chick from season 1 gets killed, the waif's girlfriend. I don't
Yeah.
remember her name. I just remember her as the waif from Game of Thrones. So
Oh, I don't remember.
oh, dude, yeah, I forgot. Thank you, Stable. Well, Cyril. So Cyril,
Oh, Cyril, yeah.
Cyril, I was hoping would join the rebellion.
He was close to
I
I think if he didn't die, he probably would have been on it
yeah,
for yeah.
it just kind of came out of nowhere. Like he got killed by the Nazi dude from Inglorious Bastards.
That
That
the
was same
whole
actor.
episode that whole thing with them starting the riot themselves and Cyril being out there in the middle of it and them running into each other and them getting the fight and Andor being like, who the
Who
fuck
are
are
you?
you?
Yeah.
It was perfect. It was
Yeah.
so good. It's just like, oh god. And
And
then just
I
she's
was
up
hoping
there
I was hoping maybe
panicking because
yeah.
she's like, Cyril's losing it and she still loves him in her weird way. And he's just like, I'm fucking done. And he doesn't even know what he did. He walked out there and he didn't even know what he did until he was out there in the middle of it. And
Well,
it's
yeah,
like, oh
he
fuck.
thought he was like, he thought he was helping, them resist outside, outside interference and all that, helping the empire with the outside interference, not, creating,
Well, he
creating subversion from outside, but they were actually doing it from within. He was helping them.
Well,
And that
he
was the,
thought he was looking for Axis the whole time. He thought that's what he was there for. He thought he was important, and he thought he was there to help her find Axis, and then to find out that no, you are just a fucking pawn, so we can murder all these people and steal their minerals.
yeah.
It fucking just he loses it, and it's perfect.
And nobody knew
Perfect.
about it. Like only the people in that council in the first episode
Yep.
knew about that.
It's
Knew
just the
about
three
that. So
of them.
that whole thing was set up from the beginning. The
Yep.
Gorman stuff I thought was great. Like it was set up over the
It was
course of.
what just was. I forget. I always forget her name. It was just her, the lead of the. I almost
Deidre.
said the Deidre. The God, I don't know why I can't remember their names.
Well, yeah, director Krennic was there. He was in
Krennic
charge.
knows it was Krennic.
Partagas is
And Partagas. It was just the three of them. That was
he
it.
was Qyburn in Game of Thrones. So you had so one thing you had Nina Gold was doing the casting for Andor. So you're going to see a lot of familiar faces from Game of Thrones.
And they're great actors, and that's why it was fucking great.
Oh yeah,
I
thought Partagas. I
Partagas is great too. There were the only three that knew, and he and he thinks he's all high. He thinks he's I'm helping the Empire be better, and nope, you're just a fucking tool. And it's just like,
yeah.
And then I was really glad that they had him strangler. They didn't hold him back. He fucking just like got in there.
Yeah.
Didn't puss out. Let him really have a mental breakdown and strangle her. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Cyril's great, man.
Yeah, so like I thought I mean he just came off as just like a pitiful one of those.
And then he gets killed by the pacifist.
Yes, he gets so I thought he was gonna die for sure. We don't know what happens to him. We don't because once again time.
I assume everybody on Gorman's dead. Yeah, that's my assumption. If you're on Gorman, you're dead.
Yeah, like we saw like all the different members of that cell get killed. Like his daughter, the pacifist daughter, she gets thrown by one of by K2SO. Like she just gets thrown and she's dead.
All the idiots, they're all most of them are just fucking idiots, honestly. But
one thing that happened that time kind of messed with was there was the crisis. There was that officer that ordered them to he was basically, he was the trigger and, Daedra was the finger, as they put it. That crisis officer that was, ordering this one dude and all the young kids who were, they were fresh to be cannon fodder, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't see what happens to him, which was very disappointing because
I'm sure he got a promotion.
I wanted him to shoot that guy in the head. Right away.
Promotion.
Yeah, he got promoted, and we don't see him again. So
he's probably running himself a Star Destroyer, baby.
Oh yeah. Looks like we're getting some people from the RNG podcast. Him and IGP. What's up, guys?
Remember when Star Destroyers? One Star Destroyer was
we didn't see a star. Thing? Did we see a Star Destroyer? I don't think we saw stars. There was no space battles or Star Destroyers in this season, but it was still
we hear about how there's a Star Destroyer in orbit and everybody is shitting their pants because one Star Destroyer. That's what I'm talking. Fucking J.J. Abrams doesn't get it. You got to have Star Destroyers with Death Star lasers on them, and you have 8,000 of them. It's like no, one 9. Star Destroyer is enough to just fucking. It's like just having that Star Destroyer parked on top of the Jedi Temple, getting the Kyber crystals on Jeddah. Just seeing that, it's like, oh fuck.
You're like, oh shit, what's gonna
Everybody's
happen?
shitting themselves. Yeah, because it's a fucking Star Destroyer. It's like, oh no, this is not good. Yeah.
If you played KOTOR, remember like the first planet you're on gets destroyed by that
Yeah.
game's version of the Star Destroyer. I forget what they call them, but yeah, like you could just get they could just they could destroy a planet like just like that. So
Yep.
I
So
think.
yep.
But
Well,
yeah,
there
the
it was. I don't know if we saw it. We might have seen it, Salvis. I don't know, but I know they talk about it being in orbit and sending the mining equipment down from the Star Destroyer. And then there's one parked on top of Jeddah, but I don't know if we see that either until Rogue One. I could be wrong.
I don't recall seeing it in Andor. So, well, if we see it, then okay.
It was good though. It was great.
Oh, it was.
Just want more. That's the only complaint. More. If they gave us more, probably could have streamlined. Got a whole bunch of the problems that arose.
I forget. Was there a resolution for Bix having her problems with sleeping and all that?
She just left. Well, I think she blew up the guy. Remember, she blew up the therapist.
Oh yeah, that happened really quick. That was just like 1, 2, 3 gone. Like he shows up and then he's dead. Because I mean they were setting up from the very first episode. Yeah, like you said, time.
Didn't have time. They had to get it done. Yeah.
Yeah, so like because I'm watching it, I was like, okay, he's back in the picture, so he's gonna be doing something, right? No, he walks into the room. She's there in the corner, and she puts him in the chair, and then puts the same device that she had on in season 1,
Yep.
and then they walked out, and then boom, it was a good shot. The camera was going back, and they were walking towards the camera. That type of shot is what I envision the stone stands would be when Rand goes out and he's like, the swords, the stone stands, and then then everybody rallies around him, and then they're going throughout the the stone, trying to take out Trollocs, and then he's got people walking behind him, and then they're being killed behind him as he's walking towards the screen. At least that's how I envision them doing it. Thank God that the show got canceled, so they can't. Well, it's
funny. We're all happy they skipped here now because, well, maybe look. You know what? I've changed my mind. We need to do hashtag WOT Reborn because yes, I do agree with that one article that says Apple TV should save Wheel of Time. They should save it.
I mean, how good are their shows? I mean, Ted Lasso kind of went. Ted Lasso had a strong first couple seasons, or first season at least.
Well, so Silo's good, Severance is good. Murderbot, I'm not sure if they're making fun of polygamy in thruples, but Murderbot's actually been pretty funny so far. There's some good stuff on Apple TV, but hear me out. So they need to save it, but not the way you think. They need to save it, and then they need to trash everything and start over.
I agree.
That's what they need to do.
With a totally different team, totally different showrunner, someone that someone that'll take the source material seriously and get the right budget for what a show what Wheel of Time needs and all that.
I mean, it needs a big budget. We were talking about. We've been more and more we think about. We've been talking about this. How much money they've wasted on weaves? They don't need to show the weaves. We're not supposed to be able to see the weaves.
We're not. I mean, so only the Aes Sedai can see. Yeah, only the Aes Sedai, the Chandlers can see
when they're training. You do it from the eyes of one of them, so you can see what it looks like once or twice, and then you just don't do it anymore. Do you know how much money they save not putting that CGI gook all over the screen? Yeah. Millions. They would have saved millions.
Yeah, I mean, it would have looked more like if someone gets shielded or something, it would have looked like they just froze.
They just go like this, and you have the other person holding their hand out or something. And it's like, oh, okay, yeah. I know what's going on because I watched the show earlier and I saw how they do the weave, and I know she's weaving right now.
Yeah, and And then
Oh
you
God.
take, and then make good use of horses, make good use of props and sets and all that. I mean, the way
Don't
the way
burn
the
down your. Don't burn down the Two Rivers twice.
yeah, exactly. Or just like like I watched the first episode of House of David, and I'm like that could be like that could be an encampment. I mean, that could easily be an
Oh
encampment
yeah.
of White Cloaks or the especially the Aiel.
Well,
You
it's
know
amazing that they thought they could get away with using the Tarvalin set for 3 different locations.
what did they use it? They used it for obviously
Shatter Logoth,
Tarvalin, Shatter
Tarvalin.
Logoth, and
That one shot of Camelin was also Tarvalin redone.
that's right. That's oh man. Like there was like not much to look forward to. Like they killed Ishi, he's dead. They killed Samael, he's dead. I mean, who was left? Lanfear and Robin.
Mogan, I had somebody say the only good part of season 3 was Mogandine, and I'm like, man, I'm trying to like.
Oh yeah, she
You're
kills
somebody that's
Samael.
agreeing with me that the show sucks, but then you have to say something like that. It's like Mogideon is not good either. She's probably one of the worst problems with the show. She's horrible. The
Yeah.
spider who literally does spider webs out of corpses.
That was so stupid. That's not why she was called the spider.
It's so silly, right? It's like
I'm surprised, I'm surprised, she didn't turn into a spider.
I was waiting for it.
Like we were waiting for Perrin to turn into a wolf. That didn't happen.
Yep.
They didn't do anything with wolves. Like
no, they totally got like what the whole Wolf Brother plot is pointless. Nothing happened.
They just had they why they even have what's his name in season 2, and then he vanishes and he's gone. But then again, he vanished after Eye of the World. I still haven't re-encountered him since Eye of the World.
That's one of the
Elias.
Things. It sucks that Elias is gone for so long, but
yeah,
Elias disappears, and that's the end of Wolf Brothers. There's no Wolf Brothers anything. I guess maybe the death of Hopper was too much, and Perrin just turned off his wolf pup. Just like they turn off the bond, he just flipped the Wolf Brother switch. It's like nope.
Or maybe the wolves reject him because he murdered Jeff from Bornhold. he just murders him. He just straight up murders him. Like,
dude,
oh my gosh,
it's so good. It is so good that canonically,
the
Wheel of Time show is ending with Perrin being taken for summary execution by the White Cloaks and executed.
Yep.
That is the end of Perrin's story, being executed by the White Cloaks. It's so
I think
good.
that's. I mean, I remember you guys. You're like I told you I didn't hate it, and that was because of that ending. Because that ending actually makes sense for what happened. What happened previously. So, yeah, and then because the show got canceled, perfect. It's chef's. Yep.
Perrin is dead. Perrin dies for his
Perrin's
crime.
dead. Perrin is tasting justice because of is tasting justice now. So
even better. Let's take it a step further because that's what we like to do. So we got the stinger. You saw Bane, Chiad, and Fail on the cliff top looking at the regiment of White Cloaks.
Yeah,
it was right. It was the Samwise. Why do you fight for good moment where they did the montage of what's going to happen in season 4, right?
Oh yeah.
So you had them looking over the cliff like they were going to go rescue Perrin. So my headcanon is the 3 of them being so girl boss said, let's do this by ourselves. They get immediately clubbed in the face and they get executed right next to him. So we have an execution of Perrin, Chiad.
Yep.
What?
Yep.
They all get executed next to each other. There you go.
Yep. They all get executed. No marriage, Shell Rising.
It was a mistake falling in love with you, Paradayaba.
Yep. Yeah.
I thought that was the ninja that could do anything. Apparently not.
I just like that.
Do you want to play Maiden's Kiss? before we get executed.
And then
Will you fuck me before we get? Will you please fuck me one more time before I get my head chopped off, please?
yeah, and then Loyal just falls into the ways. So
He's still falling.
Loyal
I'm
is still
sorry.
falling. He's dead. I mean, and then I like, you know, I was saying on X, you know, I was like, if they do somehow, if they do somehow have a season 4, what's going to happen to Loyal? Is he gonna land in Tehran Riyadh? Is he gonna land? Is he gonna land in? Where would he go? Like he never fell. That was just a dream or something. That's something the show would certainly do.
No. See, it'll be one of Matt's wishes, and Loyal will just fall out of the sky and hit him in the head. And it'll get his memories back. It'll be like, what the fuck, Loyal? He's like, you got your mind back.
So I forgot, how did I don't even remember how Matt's thing. He encounters that eel fin, that eel fin guy.
The cat's reject.
Yeah, the cat's reject. He's wearing like heels, like extremely high heels or something.
Does anybody
like
who the fuck? Like, that's the depravity of these people. Who reads the fins and thinks that's what they look like?
Nah, not me.
Nobody. Oh, Fane. Yeah, I forgot. Fane is burning Edmonds Field too because Perrin has been arrested.
Oh yeah.
That's a great point. As soon as he gets arrested, Pan Fade turns right back around and burns everything.
Oh. Yeah, like, why did you let him live? Like, why?
He promised.
Because he spoke Trolloc. Because only he can order the Trollocs. Like, how does he speak Trolloc?
He promised he wasn't going to be a bad boy, Brian. He said, "I'm not going to burn anymore. I promise."
Oh my god!
I didn't swear my soul to the Dark One, who threatened to fucking tear me apart for oblivion if I don't kill you. But I promise.
I promise I'll be good.
I'm more afraid of Perrin Ibarra than I am the Dark One, sure.
I'm afraid of Moraine more than anybody in that show.
Yeah, she's the villain.
Moraine, all the good guys, all the protagonists were they were bad.
Yep.
Rand was bad. He murdered people. Matt murdered people. Perrin murdered people. I forget. Did Nynaeve and Egwene do stuff?
Nynaeve's just a failure, and she's an idiot.
Yeah. And then Egwene's a girl boss.
She's potentially enabling Leandrin murdering Rand.
Yeah.
Because she let the male Adam go.
Oh yeah, she tries to murder Lan in season 1. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Dude, think about this.
Breaks the Geneva Convention. Yeah.
Think about this. Nynaeve is drowning, but she is bolstered by the love of her imaginary daughter that doesn't exist from her accepted trial. That gives her enough strength, her fake daughter that doesn't exist, give her enough strength to break the block and pote the seas like Moses.
Yeah.
Has she been hanging out with Wanda Maximoff and WandaVision with her fake kids? What the fuck is going on here?
Yeah, I was surprised. I was like, what's funny was at that point, I just finished Crown of Swords, so I knew exactly what was going on. I'm just like, wait a minute. That's not how this works.
Nope. Oh yeah, Alan's right. She tortures the Sean Chan.
Oh yeah.
So she gets close to killing somebody.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about. Yeah, that's the one thing I forgot about. I forgot about most of what happened in this show because that's all this. Honestly, that's all this show is worthy of, is being forgotten. Because
yeah, it really is. You're right. It's there's stuff. Yeah, you start thinking about endings. It's like,
but I just like to kind of go back in time. Now I came into the picture. I started because of meeting you guys. I decided to read the wheel. I decided to resume the Wheel of Time, and then I started my book club. You know, you and Nathan and Pips, the four of us, we started doing that. You know, and then I mean, it's the personnel has changed. You know, so my goal is still to finish the Wheel of Time. By the way, but like I got into this late. You guys were covering this. You started your channel because of Wheel of Time. I don't remember. Did Salty start his channel because of Wheel of Time, or he already had his channel, right?
I'm pretty sure he had his channel. It was just one of those things that he covered because nobody else was.
And then the White Cloaks. Now I know they're on Reddit. There was a subreddit. They got banned from it. And was then the channel made after they were banned from the subreddit?
I yeah, there yeah, the White Cloak channel was made in a direct. I'm pretty sure you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but um, was a direct
I got
result
the first
of
book.
was a direct result of the Reddit cancellation thing. Yeah,
Yeah, Staple Bow is correct. I am still on chapter 6. So I'm trying to get through the taking apart of the weaves and the Sean Chan approaching and all that. So it's a long chapter, and yeah, half the dagger's been rough. So I want to see if I want to try and I'm giving myself till the end of summer to finish the slog 8, 9,
right.
10. So yeah.
Yep, I remember you saying that. So
So, but yeah, that's where I'm at. But yeah, so I mean, you started your channel. You chose Profit for the Dragon because people were just telling you you're crazy for not liking it, and I just hate this attitude because I had this issue with people over Star Trek and Star Wars, and I'm just like I'm sick of this toxic positivity. There's nothing real about it.
yes,
There's nothing real about it. You can't be too positive. You can't be too negative. There has to be I'm going to sound like there has to be balance. You have to have it. You have to be balanced in
well,
this.
just common sense.
Common sense.
Just common sense thinking. It's like, look, it's one of those things, and I may actually make a video about it. It's why people like Asmongold are taking off right now. Because you watch the dude, and yeah, he has his quirks, but
He comes off as
he,
real.
he's just a real person. He uses his own deduction, and he just responds in the way that he feels is correct, which most of the time is just a common sense take. He's taking the data in just going, oh, this, well, that doesn't, why would you do that? You know, he's making a common sense take on it. And then you
Mm-hmm.
got all these people that are losing their minds and lying about it because people relate to what he's saying because he's just going 1 + 1 = 2, not 1 + 1 = 85.
Yeah.
Right? It's just,
Yeah.
and it's like common sense is starting to like win back the day, and it's like it needs to just keep hurrying up.
Yeah. And I just hope more people just like, who feel this way, will just, come in and join the conversation and all that.
Absolutely.
Because it's, yeah, it's just it's really, I mean, I get very you've seen me online. I get very impatient with people, especially when they not because of like a take I disagree with, but just if they start attacking people. Like
Yeah.
I had some salty people coming into my, thread, saying, we're idiots and all that. Like, no, you're an idiot. And I don't have to listen to you. And then they're like, why do you keep talking to me? I'm like, because you're in my thread. Go away, get lost.
Why are you talking to me? Because you're talking to me. Because I'm talking.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, I mean, people are entitled to their opinions. I mean,
Yep.
and I can disagree. I can disagree. If they're willing to have a conversation, great. If they're not willing to have a conversation, disengage.
Yeah.
Basically.
It's just like, yeah. So it's just common sense, man. That's all we're looking for. That's it. I don't
So
have
I
to
mean,
agree with
like,
you. I don't have to agree with you. It's like
yeah,
we don't have to agree. It's we've said that from the beginning, but
and I know a lot of people talk about like how, a lot of people. I mean, I was reading certain things in the Band of the Red Hand. I was reading like all the name calling, like they're calling all you guys incels and virgins and all that. I'm like, most of these people here have kids. You have kids, and most people have sexual partners, wives, husbands.
Yeah.
So no, and then people talk about it. I'm like, honestly, fuck those people. People act like that to you. You cut them off. You
Yeah.
fucking cut them off. They are not worth it. They're not worth your time, and they're not worth. They're not worth your ear.
Agreed.
I mean,
Yeah.
I had to deal with that. It took me years to figure that out. So
Yeah. No, it's hard. Look, it's hard, but especially when it's people close to you. But you know, thankfully, people close to me that don't think alike, we've figured out a way to just not talk about the things that we don't, agree on. It's because they're not that important, right? So,
yeah, well,
but,
I hear people who don't like Pat the Dag. Their name is actually Schicklgruber. Schicklgruber.
uh,
That's
okay.
that's Hitler's dad's mother's name or something like that. That's what the Stooges always called him. That's what the Stooges always called Hitler. In the
Oh, really?
Yeah, they call him. Oh, it's Schicklgruber.
Phew.
Yeah.
Over my head.
Yeah. So what's funny is, so I just like, yeah, don't just these, yeah, like, have conversations when you can have conversations. People
Yeah.
have to be willing to listen. If people are not willing to listen, just just gotta let these people go. Let them eat their slop. Let them eat their slop. Let them enjoy their slop. You have a, I mean, the show's level of quality is going to have the same level of the fans going to be like. If you're going to have a fan of that show, that's the level of quality fan that they are. And all that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
quality
that's
show for
also
a
true.
quality fan. Wheel of Prime. So
Oh God, yeah. What a man.
yeah, and like it's just like all those changes. Like, did he just like why the hell did why the hell did did they make these crazy changes? Like, I remember Game of Thrones, like there was a lot of stuff that they skipped, but like all the major parts of like Feast for Crows and Dance with Dragons they kept in. Um all the big stuff that happened in Eye of the World they did not use. You're just like, what the hell? What the hell is this?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, yeah,
like,
it's
how do you not have the battle? How do you not have the Burlon thing? How do you not have the him pulling his father with in the forest while being hunted? That's a very that's a
well,
very Peter Jackson Lord of the Rings
well,
type
how
of
do
thing
you
that they
not
could
have
have
Tom
used.
with them initially, right? There's so many what are you thinking moments.
Yeah, or at the end
And
of
it's
the
just
end with the Eye of the World, and you could have had this epic, Green Man fight, and then with
yep.
Agenor and Balthamel, and then Rand just going in and just like tearing the shit out of the Trolloc army at Tarwin's Gap, and then defeating Balsamon. Like why was that not a thing? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
why was that not that they should have kept that at least? Like, what the hell? And then even Camelin, like, why didn't they have Rand falling into the yard, and then Elaine and Gawain finding him, and then he gets into this very big Game of Thrones type of encounter with the Queen and Elida and Gareth Bryn. That would have been a great moment to see some tension right there. Oh, this guy's carrying a heron marked blade, and then everybody starts drawing their swords. You're like, oh shit, what's gonna happen? Like, that would have been great. I mean, I could
Well,
equate that
what
with Ned Stark, declaring war on the Lannister moment, something like that.
what happened to Camelin at all?
Yeah, there was no Camelin. Yeah, no
Yeah.
Camelin, because I guess they didn't. I guess the money just they didn't want to. They I don't know.
Yeah, who
They didn't
knows?
want to build. They didn't want to build. They just
Exactly,
wanted to have.
exactly. They're stupid. They spent all the money on bullshit, and they just, yeah, they're just idiots.
Yeah. So I'm really
Oh,
happy. I'm really happy that you guys' work really paid off. I know you've been really killing it with your streams. Getting getting good amount of views, and the White Cloaks have been getting really good viewers as well.
Yeah, man.
And yeah, and I like how all these people are just kind of jumping in now, saying, "Oh, Wheel of Time is canceled." I'm like, you guys didn't do shit. Like, I'm like, shut up.
I know. Yeah, look, man, it's one of those. I'm good. If you're on the right side of things and you want it, you're happy it's canceled. You're on the right side of
More
history.
power to you,
More
I guess.
power to you. You can come on in and celebrate with us. I'm not, you
Yeah,
know, uh,
yeah.
it.
I'm not as forgiving as Prophet, I guess.
There's so many people out there still shilling and in denial, saying that season 3 is the best it's ever been, and hey guys, how do you cancel the show with a 97 Rotten Tomatoes score? It's just like, because Rotten Tomatoes is bullshit. I do it like this, canceled, right? So
Yeah, I posted, I tweeted the stream out, and I don't know. Oh yeah, you saw it. So I basically said, this is we're happy this is the worst show ever, and then I put the hashtag save Wheel of Time, just to see if I could get some salty people to
yeah, man, no, that's the
to
best.
say
That's
shit, to
that's the
talk
best.
crap.
Yeah, save Wheel of Time. Yeah, sure. Yeah, hey, save Wheel of Time, Apple. Get
Apple.
that IP so you can start over. That's
They'll
why you
do
need to save it.
they'll do a science fiction. They'll do an Age of Legends. They'll do an Age of Legends show,
It's
and
not
they'll just make shit
anything
up.
I watch says is not gonna happen. I will fucking put money on none of that shit happening.
No, no, it's not.
They've gone as far as to hire fake people for, or like, they're not fake people, but they made fake hires for their iWatch game studio. It's like, hey, we're gonna pay you some money to say you're the director, but just shh, you're not really. We're not doing it. They're so full of shit.
So I was the one that owns the Wheel of Time, or the
Yeah,
rights to the wheel to make
yeah.
stuff.
I'm not sure they own a large chunk of the rights. They're
And they're
involved in
like, "Hey,
everything.
Amazon, do this for us." Is that kind of how it happened? And
I don't really remember the rights deal that got made between them, but I know that iWatch still around, and that's why you'll see, like, the the spin-off shit, like the Age of Legends are talking about making the movie. I don't know what exactly the deal that was made to have Sony and
did you say they announced
Amazon.
did they announce a game, a video game?
Iowa announced that they're gonna do an open world RPG MMO style Wheel of Time game that will come out maybe the PS6 era, but maybe even the PS7.
PS7.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be so big, it's gonna take 2 generations of PlayStation before it's ready. Right.
Hmm.
Sure. Sounds like
Yeah,
bullshit to me.
yeah, I agree. Yeah, I just yeah. I mean, you know what's funny is, a lot of people, I know Salty said this too. Do you think that it's impossible, like, for them to do this over? Like, everybody seems like, oh, now because of they're going to learn the wrong, Hollywood's going to learn the wrong lessons, and they're just going to see the IP as a failure instead of.
So I think that's the big problem right now, because like we're seeing it right now with Andor, right? Star Wars is a tainted brand.
Yes.
Anybody you have something that was actually seen as a good, people, a lot of people liked Andor,
Yeah.
but it didn't really get a fair shake because everybody's so all roads lead to Jake Skywalker, right? So that's still a big problem for Star Wars. So
Yeah.
uh you know same, Wheel of Time is it's damaged right now. It's but it's the same, it's damaged, but the thing that got it canceled is also the thing that could maybe, if I'm trying to be an optimist a little bit, the thing that could make it possible to have it made again. Nobody saw this fucking shit show.
Yeah.
Nobody saw it. like it wasn't seen. It was like, the only people that you had a decent amount of people of interest when it first came out, and you lost almost everybody on the second week of release.
Yeah.
And those people never came back. So if you ask those people that were there week one, they're like, "Oh shit, that show's still going. I didn't even have an idea," because they just clicked their brains off and they don't give a fuck anymore because it was such shit. So in that same vein, since nobody has seen it, yes, it's sort of tainted, but it wasn't ever like exorbitantly popular on a visual medium. So I think somebody could take another shot and be able to do it because of that fact that nobody saw it in its existence right now. So if somebody took it, actually did Eye of the World, made a good show out of it, I think it could overcome that because nobody watched it in its current incarnation, personally. But
Yeah.
it's an uphill battle.
Yeah. So Salty saying, put it like this: Shogun was a huge success in the '80s. Huge. Yeah, that's what I heard. I heard like more sushi places opened because of Shogun. People got interested in Japanese food and culture because of that old show. They only did a remake in 2024, 40 years later. They didn't have to do a remake. They just decided to do one because, like I said, Game of Thrones. They decided, let's do a Shogun. Let's make it more like Game of Thrones, where we're going to do more. There's going to be less focus on the Jesuits and the love story, and more on the Japanese politicking, the Japanese intrigue. So, but yeah, I'm hoping that someone with some common sense and will pick up Wheel of Time and adapt it properly, because there's a lot of
Yep.
potential there. I mean,
Oh, there's so much
you
potential.
said, what do you say, 100 million? The books sold 100 million.
Oh, over 100 million copies. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
only thing that sold more was what, Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings, in terms of in terms of fantasy genre, and then Game of Thrones after the show came out.
Yeah, no, it's what the sorry, it's just somebody posted that Narg put a job title up for the what is it? Where is it?
Yeah.
Who put oh god, where Narg tweeted a job listing for the Wheel of Time game. They expect you to have 2 AAA titles under your belt to apply. So yeah, right. Right. So it's like they make these unreasonable standards. They say it's going to be this huge game. They say it's going to do this, that, and the other, and they do all this because they know they're never going to make it. So they're just going to claim failure.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Salty, you're right. I did try to watch the Shannara. It was called the Shannara Chronicles. It was on. I think it was on Netflix.
Yep.
It was supposed to adapt the second book, The Elfstones of Shannara. And I'm watching, I'm like, what the hell is this? This looks like something like a CW, looks like a CW show. And what's funny was, when I first watched Wheel of Prime, episode 1, I got the same exact vibes from the Shannara Chronicles. I'm like, what is this? So I watched a little bit, but I'm like, I didn't watch it after that. And then you guys covered it, and then you guys bullied me into watching it, while after reading Eye of the World, and now my life is ruined. Thanks, guys. No, I'm kidding.
Well, I heard the Shannara Chronicles at least had hot chicks in it, so it
That
had that
is true. That is true. That's true. And I think it was the show that made, what's his name? I don't know if it made him famous, but Austin Butler, who was in the Dune movie, and Elvis. I think that was one of his. I think that was like his earliest thing, his earliest gig. So, yeah, okay.
Yep.
So, I figure, this. I figured it was a good stream to do like a little, post-mortem for Wheel of Prime. It was a hell of a journey since 2021, and yeah, I'm just yeah, you're talking about Alanon. That's the Gandalf of the Shannara. That's the Gandalf of the Shannara world. Sword of Shannara is basically Lord of the Rings light. So, But yeah, Steve, thanks for doing this. This was a fun
Yeah,
stream. Is
man.
there anything you want to? Is there anything you want to say?
Uh,
Any final thoughts? Your journey, you come to this point, like
well, no, I'm blessed to have all you cool people around support me and hanging out and talking shit about this stuff, and hopefully we have some good stuff on the horizon to talk about instead. But if it's crap, we're not gonna pull punches. So I'll be around playing games and covering other stuff. I think
Are you
I'm
still
not
gonna be
sure if
doing
me
wheel? Are
and
you still gonna do Wheel of Time
oh
stuff
yeah, I'll
now
still
that
do
like
yeah. Yeah.
what's left to what's left to do?
Oh, there's all kinds of stuff. We could poke that fucking corpse till it's fucking bone dry, man. We can go over worst episodes, worst season, worst characters, where the characters ended up, what they could have done for season 4, what were they gonna do for season 4? There's a whole bunch of shit to do if we want to. So
So Salvis, the reason why I watched The Wire was because of him, because of Will, Alex, and Pips.
yep,
Like
The Wire is great.
you three, like
Shit.
you just bullied me. You cornered me and you bullied me into watching it, and I watched it. It was rough at first, but then I really it really to me for me it really took off season 2,
It's a great show.
and then
It
season
takes a little bit.
I
It
love
takes a little
season.
bit to get used to the lingo and how things are going, but then once you're in, you're in. Murderbot, Aaron. Yeah, I enjoyed Murderbot. I can't tell if they're making fun of some of that stuff, or, but that I think that's what makes it good. Skarsgård does a great job. I actually enjoyed Murderbot so far. But yeah, so I might be covering Murderbot with Zach. So I don't know. I think me and Zach's are gonna do something together soon, so we'll see.
Yeah, Terry Brooks. Oh boy, yeah, Terry. I read like an article, and Terry Brooks was like so jealous how famous Game of Thrones was, because his stuff precedes even Wheel of Time. Like first Shannara book came out in the 70s, so
Yeah.
so to me his was like the start of all the Lord of the Rings clones that they forced fantasy books to the first books of each fantasy series to be basically. I had the world following suit and all that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that show only lasted 2 seasons. I only watched like maybe half of the first season, and I just kind of stopped because of that. Um, so all right. So for me, um, I've been promising to make a video for over a year. I'm probably going to do one. I think instead of doing the 2001 right away, I'm going to do a educational Mario video.
There you go. I know
How
you
much
want to do that
like
one.
it ruined, yeah, it ruined my Christmas one year because we thought it was a real Mario game. Mario's missing, and it wasn't. It was an educational game that I was 9, so I was stupid. My parents bought it for me anyways at full price. It was literally in the Toys R Us catalog,
Yeah.
and I was like why is Luigi like not getting hurt in this game? Why do I have to answer questions? Why am I in Italy or in Africa? Why is Bowser's castle in Antarctica? Well, it's because
Yeah.
the main purpose of that game is to retrieve pieces of landmarks and or artifacts, and then yeah, that's it. That's all it is.
Yeah. No, I remember. Yeah, you've been wanting to do that for a while, so that's good.
So yeah, so I got to do that, and um I got a couple of tutorials planned, a couple weeks, with a few different people, and got to recap my trip to Japan. So I got a few things here. I got like this little keychain, Vince Valentine, so some Final Fantasy 7 stuff.
There you go.
I got a lantern magnet right here, and I got some yen. I got some yen right here. So yeah, they actually put a hole in their 50 yen. They actually put like a hole in it. So yeah, it's weird. But yeah, man, looks like you're falling asleep. So I'm gonna
Yeah, sorry,
let's
I'm
go.
getting a
Let's
little
go.
tired. I
All right,
apologize. Yeah.
no, it's fine. So I'll all right,
Sorry,
guys.
dude.
So yeah, so subscribe to Prophet of the Dragon. Subscribe to Nerporial. Do not subscribe to Man of Manethrin because he's just a Stanley Kubrick hating jerk right there. Yeah, subscribe to Man Manethrin. Definitely watch his Super Mario Brothers take on how Rand dispatches the Sean Chan in season 2 with
Yeah,
the
that was good.
With the Mario fireball sound effects. Never gets old. So, and yeah, everybody, thanks for
It's-
being here. And yeah, everybody, take care. Have a good night, and we'll see you on the next Chillporial.
Good night, everybody.
Night.